Okay, Tiffany Washington rented the building at 307 Washington Avenue, and it was called the Toxic Bar and Grill.
Yeah, Toxic Bar and Grill. I remember that place. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I rented through a rental agent. I have a rental agent, and he doesn't need to get involved in all this. But, he rented it, and nobody thought anything. She paid the rent once a month, and life went on. When it came time for me to sell the building, within our leases, if we had a tenant, we would give them first option to buy the building if we were going to sell it. So she was notified that she would have 30 days to respond to her first option, first option to buy.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so that was to go till October the 30th. Well, on October the 29th, she called up and announced that she did not want to buy the building. She waived her rights for first refusal, asked for 2 weeks to move her stuff out, which was fine. And in fact, she was told that she could have the whole month of November because we were going to sell it, and
Okay. So you gave her all
there was
November.
nobody moving in. Move it out at your convenience.
Yeah.
But if you can get it out by December the 1st, life will be good. Well, this all happened on October the 29th, a Thursday. We had a second buyer, and we contacted the second buyer. My real estate agent did. Contacted the second buyer. Everything was agreed that they would purchase the property. And we had held up in any dealings with the second buyer because she still had that first option.
Yes, ma'am. Because you legally couldn't sell it even if they offered you $1 million.
Right. I had to wait till she made up her mind what she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then that happened on Thursday the 29th. Well, on Friday the 30th at 4:30 in the afternoon, her lawyer Tanya Franklin, who is also the deputy municipal judge or some such title, she came charging over to the rental agent's office and announced that they wanted to buy the building. He explained that that the tenant had waived her rights the day before, and it had all been closed, and that chapter of the story was over, and that we were moving forward with selling it to another person.
Yes, ma'am. I follow.
Or group.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So then I thought we both thought this is going to get to be a mess. We could see it coming.
Yep.
Because what had happened, which I believe happened, is that, and of course I have no proof of anything. What I believe happened is between the time of Thursday when they waived the right of first refusal, somebody got to the tenant or somebody, and determined that we had this other deal, and they wanted their cut out of it. We'll hold up the sale until they pay us. Well, the next week we received I did, and my real estate agent, a suit brought for breach of contract.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted a temporary restraining order to keep me from selling it until the case was heard. All right, here we go.
Oh, my goodness.
All right,
I don't surprise me, though.
Thursday, my lawyer and everybody appeared at the I didn't go, but my lawyer, because I was not a witness, but he appeared. The judge is Benny Richard. As it happened, Benny Richard is the one who was the chancellor and the judge over my husband's estate.
Uh-huh.
So Benny Richard knows the assets that I have because it was in my husband's estate. I mean, I inherited from him.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, according to my lawyer, it took half a day to explain to Judge Richard, using that term judge loosely, that the hearing on Thursday was for temporary restraining order, separate and apart from the actual breach of contract dispute. This was simply to stop me from selling it until the dispute was settled.
Yes.
All right, that went on. In the course of that afternoon, evidently it was presented that there was prostitution going on in the building.
Oh, my goodness.
All of her licenses, the tenant's licenses had expired.
Uh-huh. And this is Tanya Franklin.
I'm told that
this would be Tanya Franklin, right? This would still be Tanya Franklin, the owner of Toxicity? Okay, yeah. I'm just making sure.
And her lease had expired. Okay. Her lease expired October 31st. So
okay, gotcha.
She really had no,
she had no
everything
standing
was
at this
going
point.
against her.
Yeah, at this point, I don't see how she had any legal standing at all.
Yeah, and so we thought this was going to last about 15 minutes. Well, it lasted 2 days.
Oh, my goodness.
And at the end of the 2-day period, at which point they could not have the afternoon hearing at the time the judge wanted because Ms. Franklin, the lawyer, had to get her hair fixed. So that got postponed. But anyway, then Judge Richard announced that he was going to approve the restraining order, that I could not sell it. Even though I own it, I could not sell it.
What's the judge's name again, one more time, so I'll make sure I get that? What's his name?
Benny Richard, Bennie, Richard, Richard.
Okay.
No S. Now, his wife is a circuit judge, calls whatever her name is, White Richard.
Okay.
But she's a circuit judge, and I'm dealing with the chancery judge, the husband.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I'm just making sure. Right. Go ahead. So they gave you a restraining
order. So
he
announces that I can't sell the property, and then off the top of his head from the bench, he said, this could all be settled if you would just pay the lessee, the tenant, $40,000.
What?
And it would just all be over. Now, in my dictionary, that's called extortion.
Yep. From the bench, too.
Where's
his cut at?
It's in the trial. I mean, it's in the court record.
Well.
Now,
yeah.
My lawyer is now filing an interlocutory appeal to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
And so the trial will go on.
Okay.
But Benny Richard is hooked up in this mess somehow. And the original price had been like $34,000, which was based on the assessment from my husband's estate. John Greco had to assess the property.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was the asking price. And with my rental agent, we were trying to get it somewhere in the neighborhood of what it was assessed for.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
More or less. All right. Somehow between one day and the next day, 1 week and the next week, its price went up from $34,000 to $40,000.
Yeah.
I guess that's so everybody can get a little piece of the pie.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, then, of course, now we're still in litigation. All this will now move to the Supreme Court, and that'll all be settled. But there's something going on, because in the middle of this, the mayor wanted to buy that building.
You know, I did a story about the mayor. I did a story about the mayor that he's not denied. And it's about him being...
he was told it was not... He couldn't buy it either.
So he wanted to buy it,
that was too bad. I mean, all this was going on. And then my question was, what are you doing up in it?
Yeah.
What have you got to do with this? And so there's something going on down there, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know who it is. But when there's prostitution absolutely going on in a building outside the back door of the city hall, a block from the police station, something's wrong.
Something desperately wrong. You're right. Yes, ma'am. Well, listen, if you have more to say, I'll definitely listen. But I'm going to do a story on this. I don't even know your name, so I can't mention it as an anonymous source, so I'll never burn you.
Yes, and it can be whoever, and I heard and it was on the street.
I know how to do it, but I do ask one question of everybody. Is this something that you told me, is this something that you would testify to? Not that you have...
because I can't testify to anything because...
I'm not saying...
My problem is, I was not involved in all of this.
No, ma'am, I'm saying just I
simply own the building.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not saying that you would have to testify. I'm just saying if you ever had to, this is definitely true, you would testify to it.
I'd testify in a second.
Okay, I just do that as my own little journalistic standard. I ask that of everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, my husband was a lawyer for 40 years. My father-in-law was a lawyer. And I know dirty lawyers and dirty judges when I see them.
That's right.
And Eddie Richard is a dirty judge.
Yep, they're all dirty down there.
It's just, and see, that's why I kind of go back. And it dawned on me one day.
We need the federal government to come take over.
Well, I'm hoping that this Supreme Court thing will do something. But the thing was, if he will do that to me, and of course, if he did not have, another thing, if he did not have the ethics to set aside what he knew about my financial situation.
Yeah.
And what was going on with this stupid building.
They're like, she's got some money. Let's get it out of her.
Himself.
Yeah, because then he knew you may have whatever financial assets you had. Oh, she's got the money. We can all take a couple $1,000 hits off her.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like, we know she's got the money.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You're
and
absolutely right.
If he'll do it to me, he'll do it to somebody else.
They are down there because they have those. I'm the only person trying to do a First Amendment on them. There is nobody in this, nobody's shining a light. None of the other media is shining a light on them, so they feel like they can do whatever they want. And you know what the sick thing is? They have been.
I talked to a real good friend on Saturday, a black man that I have great confidence in. And I talked to him, and he said, we all know this is going on, but we don't have anybody to go to.
Well, I'm trying, ma'am. I'm one person.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I mean, who do you go to? You can't go to the mayor because he's in it.
Look,
you can't go to the police department because they're in it.
At this point, I don't know. I have been hung up on by the FBI. I have been hung up on by the Department of Defense. I have a human sex trafficking case online. I have filed charges against Marilyn Hansel a month ago, and I've heard nothing back. They are used to, I think, and I'm a white guy, and I'm the only, I was at Errick Simmons' 20th year high school reunion. I don't hate the guy. I was the only guy to defend him during the infamous Trump church burning, where he said it was a hate crime before he knew where it was. Okay, I know this guy real well. And I sent him the story before. Hey, somebody says you were involved with diddling this little boy, and 10 years ago when he comes back to kill everybody, it all gets played off as a gay love, a sex triangle or whatever. And him and his brother was involved in it. And you know what?
It's going on, and of course I have just brushed up on the fringe of it. And of course, my answer as far as my building is concerned is it can sit there till it falls through the earth.
Okay.
I mean, nobody can buy it right now.
Yes, ma'am.
And nobody may ever. I don't have to sell it. It's one of those things that
hey, you gotta let me set up. You gotta let me.
Where I was before it was ever anybody wanted.
That's
to buy
right.
It.
That's right. You gotta let me. You gotta let me set a sign up on it.
I don't have enough money to buy it, and if anybody does buy it, it's going to cost them a hell of a lot of money.
That's right.
But somebody, there's got to be. Now, this was told to me several years ago when something was going on. I think it was when Taco Wilkerson got killed, and everybody knows Gaston was behind that.
Yes, ma'am.
I in fact talked to an FBI agent.
Yeah.
About some of this garbage that I knew was going on, and I said, I can't prove it. I'm just hearing this over and over and over all over town. And the answer was, until they could get somebody on the inside to flip on them, there just was nothing they could do.
I know of people that I can't tell you their name, but a very respected woman in town that says that she is afraid to come forward right now because she knows Milton Gaston would have her executed.
That's right. It's just like we all know he's the one that's behind killing Taco.
I got a tip right now, man. I got a tip right now about that. It's not about Taco. Well, one of them is about Taco. I went to school with him. But the other one's about Jerry Cummins when he got killed at Cummins Trailer Park 25 years ago.
Yes, I remember that.
I got a tip right now that I'm afraid to release because if they do, they will murder this boy. He's not smart enough to survive it. They will know who it came from. He saw the dead body laying in the ground.
And see, that's my thing about this.
Yeah.
Because, but somehow or another, there's got to be a way. And I felt so sorry for the man that I talked to on Saturday. He said, we all know it, but we absolutely have nobody to go to. And of course, Benny Thompson's the biggest crook that ever walked.
Did you know that he was Did you know he was a Communist USA member?
That's good.
It's on my website, ma'am. He was Did you know that he went to Cuba in 1994, and he had these progressive students coming from America going over to Cuba, learning how to pick fruit or whatever it was. It was all that big Marxist stuff, all these Democrats, and he was a Communist Party USA member. And get this, he chaired the Department of Homeland Security while he was a Marxist.
That's one of those scary things.
Look, I'll send you.
That's what it is. It is just so.
Do you know why? Do you know why they get away with it, ma'am? I just figured it out. If you get elected to office, you do not have to undergo an FBI background check because the people elected you. Well, guess if you're an FBI agent and you run across a congressman or a senator who's committed a crime, guess where you have to go to get approval to investigate them? You have to go to the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. In the House. And John Conyers sat on that chair for 30-something years. And he was the biggest American-hating Soviet Leninist that we have ever had in our government. And he blocked investigations into these Marxists and communists for 30-something years. At one point during the Vietnam War, we had one of the people up in the White House calling in our coordinates to the enemy next door for the next day. About 25% of our government, is probably more now, has been infiltrated, and our younger generation is half stupid. They don't know what's going on. And another generation, they won't know a country named the United States of America existed.
Well, it's something that just it makes you sick.
It's the deep state.
As a friend said yesterday, he never thought he would live long enough to see this kind of thing happen in the United States. And that's why I feel so much like Trump. It's like he's fighting the deep state, and we're fighting.
We got to fight for him. They got to be our digital. We got to go fight for him.
Exact same thing.
Yeah, we got to do our part. I'm getting on to people. I'm like, look, I know you're worried about your business, but you're not going to have a business. Oh, well, I'll just fight them. I'm like, no, you're not going to just fight them. What they're going to do is pull your kid out of the house and put a bullet in his face and tell him the next one and tell you to denounce Christ. And when you don't do it, they're going to shoot that baby in the face and pull your next kid out and start cutting off fingers. And then because the people in the country are so dumbed down, they don't know what a Marxist is. They don't know how truly evil that ideology is.
Well, when I brushed up on all this mess that's happened in the last 2 weeks, I have a gun, but I never thought that I would live long enough in my lifetime to have to carry a gun with me.
Huh. Yeah, especially in town, yeah.
And it's just, I'm going, what? My goal is to sell what I own here in Greenville
and leave.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my family out of here too.
I have a special needs child, and I've got to get the services for him where I know where I can get them, and everything's arranged to have a house in another town, and time will come.
That's right. Lord's in control.
I'm gone.
Lord, and the Lord led you to put you in touch with me. And I'm going to do a story about it. I don't even know your name, but, you can always call me back if you ever want to. I'll remember your voice, okay?
Yeah, I've got your number, and there's something that is going on in this town, and there are too many important people hooked up in it.
Yeah. They're all in it together. All right. Well, if you think of anything else, call me back. But
I will.
Give me a night or so. I want to get dot my I's and cross my T's, and I'm gonna call Tanya and give her a chance to comment because they're arrogant and they're stupid, and then you can FOIA request their cell phones, and I bet that all the crimes they probably don't know what FOIA request means. I mean, Errick Simmons can't pronounce the word community correctly, let alone lead one. So none of them know the law.
The thing is, all of this is public record.
Yep, exactly.
The trial is public record.
Yep.
And it's still going on.
I'm gonna go get that.
In the middle of it, but
I'm gonna find out what I gotta do to get that.
But when I heard that you had talked about the
sex
trafficking. I'll believe it. I'll absolutely believe it. I'll believe anything they say.
They were over there pimping girls out of Harlow's. They were over there pimping. They were over there pimping out of that Chinese food place. I did stories about how people have chased little young girls coming out of football games, chased them out of town, follow them. Police won't do nothing. One story I did, a lady that happened to, and the person left her alone. But then she read in the paper a week later where he had actually got a hold of somebody. So because they wouldn't do their job, they caused somebody else to be raped or murdered, whatever the case was.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm gonna let you go.
You be careful.
Yes, ma'am.
Be careful, and I will.
Ma'am, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
If I find any real evidence.
Yes, ma'am. You'll get it to me.
Because we've already searched the building, can't find anything that was left. She's backing that sucker up with a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
And there's no anything that's there that is of any benefit to anybody. But we're going to see what's going to happen. And as soon as something does happen, I will be more than happy to let you know.
Okay.
I'll keep your phone number up under my computer.
Okay. Yes.
I can find it.
Well, look, I'm going to give you...
have a good day and a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, well, I'm going to let you know, ma'am, the Lord did call me to do this. I was called to do something for the God when I was 14 years old, and I never could figure it out. And until this summer, I had a $100,000 a year job, and this summer, God put a fear in my heart like I had never felt in my life. And and I didn't know. I was, like I said, I was just going to go live stream the city council meetings. I didn't know that every one of those people were corrupt, sorry human beings. Did you know that?
Every one of them.
Did you know that?
I can you stories on Andy Alexander that'll make your hair turn gray.
Well, send them all to me. I will do them all. I don't care. I don't have nothing to lose.
Yeah. Our city attorney owes the Internal Revenue Service $500,000 in back taxes.
Does it really? Huh. Well, let's get
some of the tax lien books to the courthouse. That's public record.
Okay.
He did owe the state tax commission $50,000 for not paying taxes, and they took away his wife's. His wife owns the house they live in. They live in a condominium on Bellwood.
You talking about Betsy Alexander?
It's in her name, and under the state tax commission rules, if you owe the tax commission money, you don't get homestead exemption.
Yeah.
So they cut off her homestead exemption. And then it's my understanding that he went down to Mark Seard, who's another pro.
Yep.
And explained to him that he and Betsy were divorced. No, they were separated. And therefore, the rules didn't count. And Betsy should get her homestead exemption on the house he was living in. And the problem is Mississippi doesn't recognize separation.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see. Oh, good. I'm going to dig up on that one, too.
He tied his horse up every night at Betsy's house. So he's living there. He has no assets, no nothing. I mean, no nothing. All he's got is however much his body is worth when he's dead.
He's worth.
He owes the Internal Revenue Service. He sends in his tax form, but no check. And of course, there's nothing to get because he has no assets.
I got you. So they can't sue him.
But he's sitting in the city hall every day.
Yeah.
As the wonderful city attorney.
Look, I'm gonna look that one up too. Give me a couple of days. I'll do some stories. They'll start feeling the heat. I promise you. We're gonna smoke them out. That's my God didn't.
But if you go to the Chancery Clerk's office. Right there on the tables, it's behind. They're there. They're right there in that front office.
Okay.
And you can ask them for it's the tax liens book, the federal tax lien book.
Friend, I would say.
And all you have to do is open it up and look under A for Alexander.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, I think that's a fun story.
Yeah, it is. I'll do it. Hey, call me back whenever you want.
I don't pay my taxes. They gonna take me away.
Do you know Errick didn't pay his? Derek, the state senator, I did a story about him not paying his. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get on it, man. You got me excited.
Okay. You have a good day.
Yes, ma'am.
Merry Christmas.
You too.
Thank you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
ma'am. Bye.